Going on, everybody? This is Vinny Maletti with Maletti Law. The strongest name in law. The date now is February 19th, 2020. It is a Saturday. We are down here in Florida. We are down here in Melbourne, in Merritt Island. I apparently have brought the rain with me and the hurricanes. So, it was actually really nice weather, apparently, until I got here. I guess I brought the cloud with me. Whatever it is, what it is. First and foremost, remember, go to the website, www.malettilaw.com, www.malettilaw.com. Sign up to the newsletter. This way, you make sure you stay in the know and all the updates. Go to the YouTube channel at the bottom of the screen. There's a little red button that says subscribe. Make sure you subscribe because we have content videos delivered all the time. Always new stuff whenever we can. Always try to be creative. Always try to be things that not only generate great content, useful content that you can actually use, and you can make better business decisions based on them, better legal decisions based on them, but at the same time entertaining, humorous. So so let's get down to it. Today's little discussion over the internet right now. Today's little discussion on this YouTube episode. It's really having to do with ghostwriting. So this is actually something this came up, so I want to make this video. People actually have a question. So when you go to my website, you look at all the services we provide, I always try to provide non-traditional legal services. Those are legal services that you don't see every day, right? So when you reach out to an attorney, what do? You think of a slip and fall attorney. You think of the ambulance chaser. You think of the person that's always trolling and suing and trying to find situations, and there's always a problem. That's so your traditional attorney work is always going to be litigious, right? It's litigation. You're going to be going to court. You're going to be going to trial. You're going to be fighting cases. That's like the traditional model of like an attorney, traditional notion of it. If you're on the defense side, you're an hourly rate. If you're on the plaintiff side, you're some hybrid of retainer, hourly with contingency. You're some kind of like hybrid in the middle. If you're defense, you're purely hourly rate on the defense side, right? Sometimes with a retainer if it's a new client, or if it's consistent work over and over again, no retainer, but just continuous fees. So that's generally how that works, right? So one of the ideas that we provide as a firm is we always try to provide these alternative services that aren't typically standard from attorneys. A lot of that is, for instance, like SEO. I happen to really like search engine optimization. Marketing for attorneys is what I really happen to like to do. So a lot of the work I do, a lot of the suggestions I give in terms of like branding, right? So legal is branding. So a lot of suggestions I give has to do with branding. Also intertwines with proper SEO, search engine optimization, because I want to provide an added value for my clients, and I really like that stuff. So it's very easy to mold them in together. So that's kind of like an example of like alternative legal services, or for instance, setting up certain structures in place that automatically protect you, like taking advantage. Perfect example. You have a product, you register with the Trademark Patent Office. You could actually register with the Customs Border Patrol to go ahead and automatically protect your products as they come in overseas, so long as they have your branding and your labeling, and it sort of protects you from infringement. And that is something that the law does on its own without you having to be aggressive or forceful. So that's an example of like alternative legal services. Another one, whereas you're using the legal structure and framework to facilitate something that you wouldn't have had otherwise, and that's why it's an alternative legal service, because it's a legal service I provide that's other than what you usually expect. Going to litigation, going to trial, going to court. So another thing that we offer that I really like to do, and I'm a huge proponent of it, and I really think all of you as business owners, I think every single business owner needs to engage in this, because the fact of the matter is every single business needs an in-house counsel, but you just can't afford it. Why? Because in-house counsel on general will cost $300,000 a year. That's essentially what their salaries are going for. A good in-house counsel is getting $250,000 a year. $250,000 a year is a good in-house counsel, what they're usually getting, which roughly boils down to like $300 an hour, $350 an hour. So that was like certain metrics and surveys and data was suggesting that's what their prices were, but so that's a big number, right? Not a lot of most businesses can't afford that. Most businesses don't have that kind of money. So Here at the firm, we always offer an alternative to that. We offer, obviously cheaper rates and prices, and then a cheaper structure that we essentially grow with you. That's like the whole kind of point of the way we set it up. I mean, so that's obviously a proprietary model and what we do as a company. So I'm not going to disclose, the structure and how I do it here. But one of the things we provide, and I think everybody needs to be doing this, I think every business needs this, is ghostwriting. Every single CEO, every single board of director, every single person involved in an executive level position needs to have an attorney as a ghostwriter. Period. Why? Because there are countless amounts of benefits that you get through ghostwriting, that you can also spearhead a lot of future problems. You could also address them on the back end by an experienced attorney who ghostwrites your issues, writes them in anticipation of future problems, right? So you're posturing at this stage in order to have a much better result on this stage. So what is ghostwriting, right? So ghostwriting is just simply, me as the attorney, I would prepare something on your behalf as if I'm speaking through you, and I would convey your interest in, your position, whatever you want. So you would say, okay, you're the manager. You would say, okay, Vin, I need you to ghostwrite. I want to fire this guy, but I don't know how to do it. I want to fire him away that, I protect my interest. So I don't have to pay him severance down the road. He's a high income earner. What do I do? Okay, no problem. Tell me your situation. Write me what you want to write to him, and then let me fix that up. That's what happens. You write your email. You write to me what you want to write to him. Me as your attorney, as your ghostwriter, I fix it up. I model it. I repackage it. I add things that I expect are going to be issues down the road. I preempt them in the letter, or I suggest an answer in my letter to get them to say so, to get the other side who's reading it to go in a way that I'm pulling them, and we ship that out, right? So that's ghostwriting. Ghostwriting includes basically, you could really use it in a variety of methods, right? You could use ghostwriting for articles. You could use ghostwriting for your emails. You could use ghostwriting for, contract negotiations. I mean, I genuinely believe every small business owner needs to engage in this practice and needs to retain, of course, me, but should have somebody on staff that they can trust, that understands the legal risk of the nature of the business and what they're trying to do, and then postures their letters appropriately. So a lot of questions come up, right? So one of the big questions that comes up is, is this, how does the person, a couple of questions, right? So number one, let's say, the CEO of the company loves this, and CEO is always writing to the board, and then I ghostwrite a lot for the CEO. The question then kind of becomes from the CEO's perspective, because they're concerned, is what if I don't have access to you? How do I convey my skills? How do I convey my voice? Will they recognize that that's my writing? Will they recognize it's your writing? Whatever the case is. It doesn't necessarily touch that. It's not like there's no deception here, because a great ghost writer is going to take your work, write it in a way that reflects how you would write in your style. Though there are obviously certain terminology. There's obviously certain terminology and definitions that a layperson wouldn't understand, or that wouldn't recognize, let's say, like legal terminology, right? Like my favorite word is indemnification. Nobody knows this word, indemnification, right? So if you see someone write indemnification, like a layperson, a lawyer probably wrote that. But some things like that, right? So obviously there are some kind of situations like that you can't afford, but the good ghostwriter couches it in a way and leads into that in a way to where it comes off as smooth and natural for the person delivering the message. So it's not really, so there's really no aspect of deceit. There's really no aspect of like a fraud or anything. I mean, it's because basically you're taking that person's attitude and temper and model and their writing style, you're taking it, you're just packaging it in a way that preempts situations going down the road or expected concerns and problems. So that's a big thing. Another issue is the concern of who's actually authoring the work. Remember, as a independent contractor who's being retained to do this kind of performance, I would be considered a work for hire. So therefore, it would be whatever I write would essentially be attributable to you, and you would be the owner, let's say, of that intellectual property, because I'm work for hire. You've hired me to do this particular project for you, this particular product drafted. This really should be used in any way, shape, or form. I certainly, this should really be used in everything from contracts to marketing to articles to basically even emails back and forth, even tension emails for that too as well. Anything that requires some kind of legal liability should always be ghostwritten to some extent. And obviously, when it comes to how we charge and what you do, it's generally, there's a variety of ways in which it's done. There's the hourly rate, obviously, which is always the easiest one, the hourly rate. Then there's also, if you have a contract, if you're like a CEO or CFO and you have an annual guaranteed contract, there also could be a certain percentage of that annual guaranteed contract in which the firm would sign up for a year with you on that. So that's also out there. That's also something as well. So the pricing is going to be flexible. It's going to really depend on the situation and what you're looking for. Generally speaking, it's either going to be an hourly rate or it's going to be some kind of percentage of an overall contract. If you are subject to a contract, we'd share in that. So we'd price according to your own contract. So I guess that should touch all the bases as far as ghostwriting. If you have any questions, obviously reach out to the firm, let us know. We do have like flyers that speak about ghostwriting in particular. We do have things that speak about it in particular on the website. So certainly go to the website www.miletilaw.com and check it out. See what we have there. Take a look. Hopefully listen to the video again. If you have any questions, obviously leave it in the comments below. Email me. You have my email address. Go to the website, do it on the contact form. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're all over the place. So hopefully this was helpful. Of course, if you have any questions, concerns, please do let us know. And as always, you got to live to be unusually motivated. Yours in laws, love, and lifts. This is Vinny Miletti, the owner, founder, God King, everything of Miletti Law. And you have a beautiful day and take care.